Huge explosion in Ukraine. Some speculate nuclear weapon. What's going on, guys? Make Electric. It is Tuesday, the 10th of February, 2015. You know, the World War III rhetoric in 2015 is ramping up exponentially. I don't know what this was that blew up in Ukraine or who set it off, but that looks a lot like a nuclear explosion, in my opinion. If it wasn't a nuclear explosion, something very big. You could see the shockwave coming off of it. I'll put the link from We Are Change. A massive explosion rocks Donetsk. Locals say it's far larger than usual. They got videos on it. I'll put a backup link. Ukraine says artillery fire, not tactical nuke. Attack triggers large Donetsk explosion. So artillery fire is the official story. I'll also put a link to a GLP thread, very lengthy at this hour, 60 pages long, other people's opinions if you want to go through that. You know, it's just craziness if you're watching any of the mainstream coverage, mainstream propaganda, that is. I got a ton of info to give you here. Let me just get into it. CNN says Obama considers arming pro-U.S. troops in Ukraine. This from RT. It's right there on the screen. They got a screen capture of it. Meanwhile, as I reported in one of my last videos, here's a link from the Moscow Times. Russia would see U.S. moves to arm Ukraine as a declaration of war. So if we arm Ukraine, declaration of war on Russia. That's bad, people. That's bad. We've been talking about these scenarios for years now. Years, but I don't recall ever seeing it this, on the edge, if you will. I got another one from RT. Moscow and Cairo dropped the U.S. dollar, use national currencies for trade. This, from RT as well. They're dumping the dollar. No doubt Putin's pulling out of that. We got European, France pivots to Putin. Cyprus offers Moscow military base. U.S. and Germany splinter on Ukraine. So we seem to have all this bickering amongst world leaders around the planet. At least that's how they want it to look. Maybe they're all in on it together, maybe not. But, it is what it is. From Stars and Stripes, Merkel takes fire for stance on no weapons to Ukraine. That came out in the past couple days. I did see Merkel and Obama on TV yesterday. I didn't bother to unmute it because I don't want to hear that clown's voice. Cameron under fire in the UK for not joining Merkel. And Moscow-Kiev talks. So all this bickering, leading up to what? The Telegraph reports Greece lenders stun Europe with escalating defiance. So it's like everybody's turning on each other. At least that's the official story. And while all that's going on, you got North Korea over there in the corner feeling left out, right? North Korea test fires 5 missiles. That February 8, 2015 from the New York Times. I don't know. Jordan, we got the war on ISIS, the supposed war on ISIS, as we had the supposed war on Al-Qaeda. Aaron Russo said it years ago, by having a war on terror, you can never win it. It's an eternal war. But, here from the New York Post, Jordan vows to completely wipe out ISIS. Well, even if you do, there'll just be another boogeyman created, or, a boogeyman / real terrorist mixed in together. CIA, Mossad, all the same to me. Homeland Security, meanwhile, back at home, they're prepping us for, and this is one of the reasons that I so strongly feel over the years that there's going to be some sort of big event along the lines of Operation Blackjack / Jericho. I'll put that information at the bottom of the video if you're not aware of that. Homeland Security Chief says terror sleeper cells are in the U.S. This is a new article, February 8. Just a matter of time before they want to, pull the trigger on the United States. Speaking of that, 3 from the St. Louis County area accused of supporting ISIS terrorism. More roundups going on. This hits me kind of hard because these people that they captured lived in a neighborhood that I grew up in. Supposedly in Bosnians supporting ISIS. I mean, if you believe the official story, I don't know. Cop puts chokehold. Now, speaking of rounding people up, going down the lines of Operation Blackjack and Jericho, you got a police state apparatus, you got, borderless community, you got new currency. Let me just give you some. Would the law enforcement in America round up Americans? Here's just an example. One more example in a horrifying line of examples. Cops put hood over woman's head, restrain her, choke her out to draw blood over a DUI. This is what they're doing to Americans, forcefully taking your blood. We'll kill you if you don't give us your blood. The founding fathers would be rolling over in their graves. I mean, this is what's happening in 2015, people. Eric Holder, now, along with Jericho and Blackjack, comes gun control. Of course, they've been wanting to take the guns for years. Eric Holder says, inability to pass gun control is my single failure. Well, you have many failures, Eric Holder, but the fact that they weren't able to get rid of the guns is because Americans didn't, like my friends down in Texas in the streets talking about come and take it. I mean, right on. People standing up for the Second Amendment, their agenda isn't working out very well, so they need the Jericho Blackjack event if they want to take guns, because as it stands right now, they're not going to take jack. Pope Francis, let's talk about the border that's erased in, Operation Blackjack and Jericho. The North American Union, as we were called crazy for over the years for reporting on, however, CNN comes out recently talking about North American Union. I mean, here's one. Pope Francis to cross Mexican border in solidarity with illegal aliens. The Pope's getting involved in, borderless communities, January 30. We are changed. 2/3 of Americans, the Constitution. You don't have a Constitution anymore. Nobody has rights under the Constitution, specifically with the Patriot Act and the National Defense Authorization Act, where the government says, we'll come take you, detain you, throw you away, no one will ever hear from you again. No due process. I mean, they can do that to any one of us. We all know that. That's not a conspiracy theory, that's fact. 2/3 of Americans live in constitutional free zones, border zones, where government can deny citizens' rights. A new article from We Are Change, February 7, if you're not aware of that. Coastal communities, you're in a constitution-free zone. Are you aware of this? InfoWars has this. Federal Reserve freaks out over audit. The Federal Reserve is never going to be audited. This is why, in my opinion. This is all just my opinion, by the way. It's like the movie Goodfellas. Remember when they couldn't borrow another dollar, or they couldn't. What do? You burn the joint out. You light a match. That's what's going to happen to America. That's why the Fed will never be audited. We are witnessing the transferring of wealth from our country to other countries in order to bring in, chaos and collapse the United States, so that order out of chaos, the New World Order comes in and saves everybody. Speaking of, here's a prime example right here. UN Climate Chief. Climate Chief. Not sure what she has to do with the economy, but listen. We're intentionally transforming the world economy. February 8, 2015. You know what that means? That means New World Order. Another one from We Are Change. Gallup CEO, recently comes out and says, the unemployment number is a joke. It's way, way higher. Here's an article. Gallup CEO fears he might suddenly disappear for questioning U.S. jobs data. Yeah, I fear for you. People speaking out disappear sometimes. This February 7, brand new article. Put a link to it. If you want to see an example of unsustainability, I'll put a link to usdebtclock.org. $18 trillion. For the people who think we're all crazy conspiracy theorists for saying this whole house of cards is going to come crashing down eventually, I would love to, hear your arguments as far as the U.S. national debt. If you don't believe that things are going to come crashing down and everything's going to be fine, please tell me what you think that number is going to look like in 20 years, and please tell me if you think it's just going to keep going into infinity. That right there is unsustainable. I've said that for years. Eventually, it collapses. It's mathematics. It's not, rocket science. Operation Blackjack and Jericho both specifically stated, our debts have been forgiven. We're starting over, clean slate. Another reason why I think that's a very, could be a very real scenario. And people who think that the government could never pull off a false flag to bring in tyranny, people are in denial. I'll put one link under the debt clock. 42 admitted false flag attacks. February 9, 2015, not just the U.S. government, but governments around the world. Hitler burned down his own Reichstag. Gulf of Tonkin. Look into these admitted false flags. And people act like it can't happen today. That's just conspiracy nonsense. That happened years ago. That would never. People are in denial about 9/11. We've been talking about 9/11 truth for years, and people, no, I believe what the TV told me. The TV told you a big-ass lie. You might want to revisit 9/11 and consider everything that came out of 9/11. The never-ending war on terror, the Patriot Act, the NDAA, and everything else. Billions and trillions and just quadrillions of dollars for the military-industrial complex. While vets coming home can't get any health care, they're just dying, killing themselves in record numbers. No help for them. I'm going to put a couple videos at the bottom for you, if I haven't given you enough already. Why the Ukraine peace talks will cause war. From We Are Change, Luke Rudowski in 10 minutes breaks it all down for you. Check out his information. You won't hear that on the mainstream. Another great video I'll put it below is Freedom for Kaz. Last link. U.S. global economy about to implode. It's imminent. Get ready. 11 minutes long. You can call it fear-mongering if you want to. But listen to what the man has to say and see if you can dispute it. Can you dispute any of the links I've given you in this video? If you see it differently than me, please, I welcome opposing arguments in the comments section. So long as it doesn't turn into a name-calling, all out, just, I got no time for that nonsense. We're living in a world of, rapid, very rapid changes, and at any moment, we might wake up and see Jericho going on. And again, if you're not familiar with that, false flag scenario in multiple cities, I'll put those links at the very bottom if you want to review that stuff. Crazy times, people. Crazy ass times. Please tell me your thoughts on all this. I really enjoy reading your comments and how you feel about all this stuff. I've talked long enough. Sorry the video's so long. I had a lot to give you. Please pass it around. Share the links. Rate the video. I really appreciate it. Helps it get around. Help wake people up. Tell them all this stuff's going on. Show them the proof. Outright madness in 2015. Until the next one, you guys take care. Stay safe always. I will see you on the next one.